There you go. Okay, so let's get started. Again, thank you for your patience. I apologize and appreciate that. We are focused on it started a sort of our new focus here on narratives, and just to review, go through some narratives together, just review that process. We'll use John chapter 4, the woman at the well, as sort of the passage, the text we're going to go through. And I had asked you last week, those of you that were there, I'd asked you to read through the Gospel of John at least one time, and then also read through the story of the woman at the well, so that you can get familiar with it. If you haven't, that's okay. Make sure to do that this coming week, just so that it'll help our discussions the more familiar you are with it. So we'll start with just the reminder of the steps that we will pursue for a narrative text, and just remembering that these first 3 steps, we're looking at the book as a whole, just like we would any other book, just if we were studying an epistle. Every book of the Bible, in fact, when you want to study a particular passage from that book, you want to first focus on the book. And that's going to be true for every book of the Bible except the Psalms, which we talked about last week. The Psalms are a collection of independent, separate poems that that the book forms an anthology. So it's not, the Psalms is not one book written by one author with one purpose and one circumstance. It's every psalm has in itself its own purpose and circumstance and author. And so that's the only book that you won't do these first 3 steps for. Every other book in the Bible is written by a particular author in a particular situation to address a particular doctrinal concern or issue. And therefore, we want to first get an understanding of the book as a whole. And so last week, as we opened up this discussion of narratives, we talked about reading and observing the book. And then we started into looking at the background context of the book. And so just by way of review, let me ask Brother Harris first. Brother Harris, can you give us a short summary of what the background context of the book is? If someone who didn't, the first time they're hearing this, how would you explain to them what the background context of a book of the Bible is?
The background context or theme of the book would include the author, the recipient, the occasion for why it was written, the cultural context, um, the time when it was written, so that you would have a better understanding of the of the of what we read in the book.
Good. Very good. Yeah, we could summarize it and call it basically the setting of a book. Who wrote it? When did he write it? What prompted him to write it? What is the key purpose of the book? What places are mentioned in the book? What is the culture in which the author and the audience lives? All of these give us they're part of the background, give us a setting of the book. Now, many books of the Bible, we don't know exactly who the author is, but we do know that every book of the Bible, again, except for the Psalms, because the Psalm is a collection of independent poems, every other book of the Bible, the author wrote with a specific purpose. Okay? And that is the key. That is critical, to identify the purpose of the book, because that is the anchor or maybe a better way to put it might be the hook upon which the book hangs. Everything in the book will be somehow connected to its purpose. We might call that the main theme of the book, but the idea is that why did the author, what is the message he's trying to communicate through this book, whether it's an epistle, whether it is a narrative. What is it that he is trying to teach or communicate through the book? What is his purpose? All right, that is the key. And as much as we can find out about the author, the recipients, the historical context, the culture, all of those things will help us to figure out what is his purpose. All right, as well as the literary context, which will be the next step we'll talk about in a little bit. But last week we started looking at the Gospel of John, and in fact, here's just a summary of what we just talked about, the background context. These are some of the features that we're looking for in a particular book. Now, for epistles, this is quite straightforward. Usually all this information we can determine more easily than like for a narrative where it's really a story. So it's not a personal letter. It's a story written by an author to communicate biblical truth, but he doesn't tell us at the beginning or end usually, okay, so the point of this story is, we often don't get that. We have to figure it out from clues within the story, and that is why studying the background context and the literary context, that is the author's flow of thought in the book, are so important. All right, so for the background context, again, we can call that the setting of the book. We I gave you in the notes from last week this table, which is really just a summary table of some questions to consider as you're looking for the background context of the book. Now, you don't have to answer every single question here in the table, but I think it's a helpful guide as to what to look for. Okay, can you guys still hear me? Okay, Athan, I don't know how your prayer's not working here. I'm still having trouble. On the regular. All right. All right, can you guys hear me now? It's still. Okay. I don't know where it cut off, but let me share this table again. All right. Okay, well, let's try this again. Okay, so again, with this table, these are just suggested questions to consider. You don't have to answer every single one, but I just put together a number of questions that would help guide you as you're looking through a book and what to look for specifically as far as the background context is concerned. Now, again, a number of these questions you probably won't be able to answer. Even the basic one, who is the author? There's a number of books in the Bible, especially Old Testament narratives, that it is difficult, if not impossible, to know who actually wrote the book. All right, everything's frozen again. I don't know if you guys can hear me. Can you guys hear me? Hello?
Yes, yes, Pastor. We can hear you.
Okay. Wow. Maybe I need someone else to pray. Oh boy. Ah, oh man. Let's see. Let's try again here. All right. Okay, now
It's
everybody.
freezing up.
Yeah.
There. There.
Wow. Let me see. Let me try this. I'm going to let me try this. All right. If you can hear me, I'm going to cut off. I'm going to reboot my computer and see if that helps at all. Okay. So if it kicks you off, just re-log in to Zoom, but I'm going to reboot. Try again.